Part 15. But honest, you say. If the dead are not always in heaven, none are in hell, and most are in a state of sleep, then where do ghosts and spirits come from? Spoken about in books, television, horror movies, and so much more, many people wonder, do spirits, whether good or bad, even exist? The Bible teaches at John 4 verse 24 that God Himself is a spirit. His first creations, including Christ, were also spirits called sons of God. At Job chapter 38 verse 7. How many of these spirits did God create? At Revelation 5 verse 11 it says there are myriads of angels, or hundreds of millions of angels. Hebrews 1 verse 14 notes that these angels are here for holy service, to protect God's worshippers who are living on earth. But what about the other spirits? Many people are skeptical of their existence, at least until they experience it themselves. Some have witnessed dead loved ones, famous people, or strangers supposedly of the spirit realm. This begs the question, is this where some go when they die? We've already learned in previous videos, at Psalm 146 verse 4, that the dead aren't burning in some layer of hell, or in limbo, and only relatively few are in heaven. This means when we are dead, our spirit does not continue into the spirit realm. Our consciousness simply ceases to exist. So if in that day our thoughts perish, then why do spirits of real people appear to us? First, we must ask, who are bad spirits? At 2 Peter 2 verse 4, bad spirits are referred to as angels who sin, or demons. The first angel to make himself into a demon was Satan the devil, whom the Bible calls the ruler of the demons, at Matthew 12:24. At Matthew 4 verse 8, while on earth, it says Satan the devil brought Jesus Christ up to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory, in a lame attempt to get Jesus to worship him. No mountain on earth, no matter how high, has the view to the entire world. This tells us that demons have the power to give a human visions, even guiding them to assume they have seen a spirit or ghost. But why would they do that? Well, look at their leader. As we learned in previous videos, in the first book of the Bible, Satan tempts and misleads Adam and Eve to do wrong. He was the first spirit to disobey God. In fact, John 8 verse 44 refers to him as the father of the lie. His lies lead to everything wrong in this world. Those who follow him would no doubt gain joy from seeing humans on earth live in fear and sadness. So do good spirits exist? Definitely. What about bad spirits? Unfortunately, so do they. So what about ghosts of the dead? The answer is no, they do not exist. They are simply demons trying to scare or mislead us. Demons see us as worthless as dirt beneath their feet, so they take pleasure in torturing those who are afraid, or manipulating those who aren't into being their slaves. Many claim religion is not for them because they are capable of ruling themselves. But I tell you now, there is no such thing as a human who rules himself. Humans who reject God, or who are simply indifferent to Him, are automatically signing a contract to be a slave to the demons. So how do we protect ourselves and avoid bad spirits? At Deuteronomy 18 verses 10 to 12, we are given this command. No one shall be found among you who makes a son or daughter pass through fire, or who practices divination, or is a soothsayer, or an augur, or a sorcerer, or one who casts spells, or who consults ghosts or spirits, or who seeks oracles from the dead. For whoever does these things is abhorrent to the Lord. It is because of such abhorrent practices that the Lord your God is driving them out before you. This means if we have dabbled in witchcraft, or even practiced things such as seemingly harmless, magic tricks, we should stop immediately. It also talks of those who look to fortune-telling, such as tarot cards or horoscopes, and those who try to communicate with the so-called dead, such as through seances, shamans, or Ouija boards. When we entertain or practice spiritism, we are not only displeasing God, but we are inviting these bad spirits into our home. Demons are known to torture humans for fun. You don't want anything to do with them. But what if these things are obvious to us? What if we already avoid blatant acts of spiritism and are a religious person? Unfortunately, we can still be attached to demons unintentionally. At 1 Corinthians 10 verse 21 it says, You cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of demons. You cannot partake of the table of the Lord and the table of demons. This means if we are to serve God, we must reject all forms of spiritism. This means removing all forms to entertainment relating to the occult, such as witches, ghosts, and magical fantasy entertainment. This means television, games, movies, music, and anything demons find inviting. If we want to avoid Satan and his demons, we can't just do the bare minimum and expect God to help and protect us when things go wrong. So what can we do? At Proverbs 18 verse 10 it says, "The name of the Lord is a strong tower, the righteous run into it and are safe." Satan and his demons are terrified of God, and especially God's name, Yahweh, or in English, Jehovah. But this does not mean that use of God's personal name serves as a charm to ward off evil. The name of Yahweh or Jehovah represents the person himself. We are protected when we come to know him and put our full trust in him, by leading a life free of evil. If we do this, then when we call out to him for help, using his personal name, he provides the protection that he has promised in his word. Finally, James 4 verse 7 says to submit yourselves therefore to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. This means the more we worship Yahweh, the more Satan will avoid us. But this doesn't mean he won't oppress you. When bad spirits see that you are doing good for God, they will throw anything in your path to distract you from God. But we shouldn't be afraid of this. Yahweh, or Jehovah, is the most powerful being in the universe, so if you focus on worshiping him, he and his name will protect us from evil. So in conclusion, here are the steps to avoiding bad spirits. Number 1. Avoid blatant and non-obvious forms of spiritism in your life, such as witchcraft or spiritistic entertainment. Number 2. Be thorough. Although we might be religious, clinging to any form of spiritism will make our worship to God in vain. Wait a minute, honest. You say, you briefly skipped over something earlier without an explanation. You said at Matthew 4 verse 8, while on earth, Satan the devil brought Jesus Christ up to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory, in an attempt to get Jesus to worship him. This doesn't make sense. If the world is in Jesus' hands, what does this have to do with worshipping Satan, who really rules the world? I'm glad you asked. See Part 16 for more.